what they're playing for, a win today and they're in.
Bottom line, Clark Atlanta, their motto this year is to expect victory.
For the seniors here for Albany State, 18 seniors were honored during the pregame, and for them, this is their final homecoming here on the campus of Albany State. We're expecting a packed house. There are still people reveling and tailgating outside. They had a wonderful parade this morning. Live from Albany, Georgia, in southwest part of the great state. They call it the Peach State. Homecoming 2016 for Albany State University. Aspire presents the SIAC Game of the Week. The Golden Rams take on the Clark Atlanta Panthers. Hello, everybody. I'm James Verrett along with Eric Tabor, and this game has a multitude of implications. First of all, it's homecoming for Albany State, but also they're playing basically for the SIAC Eastern Division.
That's correct. Clark Atlanta with a win will clinch their berth in the SIAC Conference Championship in Montgomery, Alabama.
In addition to this, this is probably an elimination matchup when you think about the MVP for the SIAC. For the quarterback position specifically, for Albany State, Caleb Edmonds has been do everything for the Golden Rams, and this year is no exception. He's a senior, and he's trying to go out with a bang.
With the injury to Jarvis Small, he has been asked to take this team on his shoulders and carry them, and that's what he's done these last two games.
The visitors, Clark Atlanta, they have really come out of nowhere and been a major contender for the SIAC Eastern Division. Basically, they win today, they win the Eastern Division, and they're led by Jonathan McCrary. He's a young man who graduated from Vanderbilt in graduate school at Clark Atlanta, and he's really led by example.
He's a dual-threat quarterback. Look for him to throw the football. If you can eliminate his throwing, then he'll run it. So he is a hard man to stop.
Homecoming 2016 here at Albany State. I know you're going to bring me up to date on all of the sweet traditions. We'll have kickoffs, the sights and sounds of everything that we have here to offer here at, they say, what is the great city called?
The Good Life City.
The Good Life City right here on Aspire. Welcome to Albany State Coliseum Stadium right here on the campus of Albany State University. James Verrett along with Eric Tabor. Homecoming 2016 here on the campus of Albany State and throughout the region here in southwest Georgia. We've already had the coin toss. Clark Atlanta won the coin toss and has elected to receive, and onto the field now are the Golden Rams of Albany State. And across the field in white on the Clark Atlanta Panthers. This is a team that has had their best record so far since 2008. And Eric, this is a team that they know what they're playing for, a win today and they're in.
Bottom line, Clark Atlanta, their motto this year is to expect victory.
For the seniors here for Albany State, 18 seniors were honored during the pregame, and for them, this is their final homecoming here on the campus of Albany State. We're expecting a packed house. There are still people reveling and tailgating outside. They had a wonderful parade this morning throughout the downtown area in the city of Albany. And as we go along, we're going to educate the fans who are watching the game on Aspire all across the United States on what they have here in the great city of Albany. A lot of people don't know this is the home of Ray Charles.
Correct. It's the birthplace of Ray Charles. This is where he was born. They have constructed a Ray Charles Plaza in his memory downtown Albany on the banks of the Flint River.
And as they used to say, even Ray Charles can see this is a very big game, very intense ball matchup. And we'll have Albany State who will do the kickoff here to kick off the homecoming matchup. Homecoming is always a peculiar game because when you're the visiting team, you always have a chip on your shoulder because they're like, oh, this must be an easy victory. But when you're the home team, you have a lot of distractions. And for the Albany State players, how do you think they handle the distractions, Eric?
Bottom line, Coach Land has talked to his players and said minimize the distractions. He's had events and activities set up for the team to keep their mind on football.
And football will be played momentarily. We see Emilio Maldonado, who will do the kicking duties. And back deep for Clark Atlanta, we'll have DeAndre Jackson and Chris Lasasari. There are a multitude of implications for this afternoon's game for Albany State. If they win, they control their own destiny in making a return trip to the SIAC championship game on November 12th. And for Clark Atlanta, if they can win today, they'll mark their first trip to the SIAC championship game and an Eastern Division title. And fumble right there on the opening kickoff, but Jackson able to recover, and he's off and running, and that faux pas turns into a positive, and he has some room to run out to midfield. He has one man to beat, but a flag is thrown way back on the 20-yard line. This may be coming back 10-5. It looks like a touchdown, but hold on, there's some laundry all the way back on the 12-yard line. This may be all coming back, but a great effort there by DeAndre Jackson.
An unbelievable run. He saw the crease, accelerated exactly where he needed to, and turned on the jets, and next thing you know, it was off to the races.
And it may all be coming back. Let's see what the official call is.
Mark in the back, number 54, half the distance to the goal, first down.
And I know DeAndre Jackson is really like, is this real? I get a touchdown, call back, opening kickoff, because of a block in the back. And he really didn't need the block.
He really didn't. A 99-yard return went for naught.
And he'll get on the bike to try to loosen those limbs after saying, man, I gave it my all, and it's all coming back. But they still get a chance to hold on to the ball half the distance from the goal. They will start from their own 9-yard line. Jonathan McCrary, the all-everything quarterback for Clark Atlanta. First play from scrimmage, they're going to hand it off to Jaha McCray, and he goes nowhere fast. This vaunted dirty blue defense, they're playing at home, and their key is their front four.
The front four of Albany State, led by number 99 Grover Stewart, unbelievable talent. He will be playing on the next level next year.
Nick Scott on the tackle for Albany State, brings up a second down. They push them all the way back inside their own 5-yard line. They're going to call it at the 5. 2nd and 15. Staying in the shotgun with some time, and incomplete pass intended for Brandon Boylan, one of the reserve running backs, stepping in for Matthew Daniels, who may be partially in and out of today's game, suffering from a hand injury.
That's a tough break for Clark Atlanta because they really miss this young man. Daniels is a great pass blocker, but he's going to have some trouble catching the football out of the backfield.
Now they're looking at 3rd and long. Let's think about it. Just a few plays ago, opening kickoff ran 99 yards for a touchdown, call back for a block in the back. Now they're looking at 3rd and 16. McCrary is still in the shotgun. He has some room to run. He can run, but does not find a lot of room. May have gained about 3 yards, gets back close to the original line of scrimmage. It'll bring up a 4th down and 11.
We talk about being a dual threat, and McQuarrie saw right off the bat he had nowhere to go with the football, so he took it upon himself, tucked it in, got what he could, got some positive yards. Even though it wasn't enough for the first down, the Golden Rams will take possession after this punt.
Dirty Blue defense, just as advertised, they don't let a lot of things go unnoticed, and they do a good job of wrapping things up. Punting for Clark Atlanta will be Ty Woods, and back deep for Albany State will be McKinney Haberson. Fair catch call, and this will take a Clark Atlanta bounce, go to midfield, just on the other side of midfield, and down at right near midfield, and that's where Albany State will take over. 50-yard punt for Clark Atlanta and Ty Woods. And here comes the Golden Ram offense, led by their senior, Caleb Edmonds, and Caleb has done a good job so far this season. He's had 95 completions on 166 attempts, 6 interceptions, but has 8 touchdowns, and he also is a dual threat with 275 yards rushing. looking to go to the air on first play from scrimmage for the Golden Rams, and he finds his tight end for positive yards. Good play there by number 81, Chris Hunt.
Chris Hunt is one of those athletes. He creates mismatches all over the place. He can line up in the slot. He can line up as a receiver. He has speed. He has size. He's one of those prototypical tight ends that you see in the NFL today.
6-yard gain. They're going to call it, check that, first down. Into Clark Atlanta territory. Good positive run there by Jarvis Small. It seems as though Jarvis Small's role has diminished as Caleb Edmonds has stepped forward, not because Small, who is their all-everything, one of the legendary backs here at Albany State, but he has been hampered by injury, Eric.
Yeah, he's, and we talked with Coach Land earlier this week, and he is about 75% right now. But he has been making it a go, and that's why his numbers are down this year. He's been battling that high ankle sprain.
Second down, we're going to call it 6 yards for the first. They're going to go with that bunch wide receiver group right there on the near side. Edmonds finds who now is his trusty tight end in Chris Hunt for another positive yard, and will bring up a third down situation. He really didn't get much there, got beyond the line of scrimmage, but they pushed him back, makes it a third down, call it 6.
And that was a great catch by Hunt, but he took just what the defense gave him. Once again, I talk about him being a mismatch for the defense because he's a big guy, but he has speed and height.
Conversions have been something that they've been working on. They want to continue their drives, particularly opening drives of the game. Edmonds getting some pressure, going deep, trying to find a receiver, and incomplete. I know the receiver is looking for some form of interference, but incidental contact. Good coverage there by number 10, Kemo Burton for Clark Atlanta.
Burton did what all good defensive backs and cornerbacks do. When you get a receiver between you and the sidelines, you give him a nudge to try to force him out of bounds. That way the ball will be uncatchable because he had stepped out of bounds.
Punting situation for the Rams. Terry Wiley will do the punting. Wiley, ball will go into the end zone. And after both teams have had an offensive possession, neither have been able to scrum up any form of positive offense. But it's homecoming 2016 right here in Albany, Georgia. We'll be back with the second drive of Clark Atlanta right here on Aspire.
A lot of my
Welcome back to Albany State Coliseum here on the campus of Albany State University. James Verrett along with Eric Tabor. Second offensive drive for Clark Atlanta. They started the game with a 99-yard kickoff return that was called back due to the block in the back, and their offensive possession went nowhere. Now for their second possession. Going under center is McCrary. He's going to try to get the ball to his running back, who bounces to the outside, tries to find some positive room. Great job by Jahan McCray to try to make something out of nothing, but he was able to gain 1, possibly 2 yards.
And that dirty blue defense shows you why they're the dirty blue defense. They're not necessarily pretty. They just dig in and get the job done. If you watch the replay, McCray bounces out, nowhere to go, takes it outside. That's where the defense says that's how they want you running, sideline to sideline, not up the field, and it ends up being a short gain, second down for the Panthers.
Now McCrary back in the shotgun looking for a receiver, and he does find one. Positive yards by Travier Bryant, and a first down for the Panthers. And he wanted an extra flag there, possibly for a late hit.
That was dangerously close to a late hit, but he made a football move and spun off. If you watch the replay, McQuarrie finds his receiver, who makes a move and continues up the field. The player did not see the sideline, so the officials gave him the benefit of the doubt.
He did take a step out of bounds before He was hit. Shingleton on the tackle, but he did not get that call of a late hit. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Give to McCray, and this time McCray is met by a wall of blue. Hughes leading the way, number 94, Monty Taylor. He's a UCF transfer playing big, the senior at 6'4", 268.
And let me tell you something. Coach Huff, the defensive coordinator for Albany State, learned from last season. He said, we are not going to let McCray beat us this year. Last year when they played him up in Atlanta, it was a great contest, and McCray came back off an injury, and he was solid.
And Jonathan McCrary calls a timeout with 8:32 left to play. We're going to go to, they'll take a break, we'll take a break, and we'll see exactly what Coach Ramsey will try to do in order to make the adjustment as this team is on the move right here on Aspire. The Golden Ram faithful here on the campus of Albany State University. They've had a long day, had the homecoming parade downtown. They quickly came over here, tailgated for a little while, and now they're down to business here as Clark Atlanta on their second drive. McCrary, after the timeout, trying to find someone, and does, has a receiver open, positive yards there, able to get maybe 2 or 3 yards on the reception. Dre Martin on the reception there, also on the tackle. Number 9, Emmanuel Brown.
And that was a great play in coverage. He was good coverage, a good throw, a good completion, outstanding job all the way around.
Third down, we're going to call it 6. They really need to get out to about the 45 for a first. McCrary is not taking any time, and he hits, a big hit right there to stop a first down. Great play by number 7 coming out of nowhere. Zamvondrick Shingleton playing that linebacker. He's a tall guy, but able to lay some leather.
And watch, McCrary, only one place to go, but he is met, stood up, and dropped in that order by Zamvondrick Shingleton. 38 tackles on the season coming into the ball game.
And once again, the Dirty Blue defense, that's what they call it here at Albany State, has stood tall, makes another punting situation for Clark Atlanta. Woods to punt. Sort of a sidewinder punt, and possibly a flag is thrown. They will take the loose ball in, but I think the special teams player for Clark Atlanta jumped the gun there a little bit.
He did. He's going to get called for fair catch or kick catch interference. So that's not going to negate another touchdown by Clark Atlanta.
It was a 55-yard punt, and it was Tyler Story who was there on the return. And
On the kicking team, number 6, 15 yards from the spot of foul. First down.
over exuberance.
Excitement is what I would call it. This is the first time Clark Atlanta has ever played in a game of this magnitude in recent memory. These two teams have met a total of 46 times. This is actually the 45th meeting between the two. Albany State leads the series 38-6. And this is only the second 5+ win season for Clark Atlanta in the past 20 years.
Edmonds and Small in the backfield. Edmonds looking to pass, has a receiver. Catch is made. May have been about 5 or 6 yards. Simmons on the reception. Quadri Simmons, one of the upperclassmen, a junior. His 17th reception of the year, and now you see Albany State trying to move at a faster pace. Edmonds looking to throw. Once again, finds Simmons. Simmons has some room to run. He has some big room to run. 30, out to the 20, and this time brought down at about the 15-yard line. Huge play by Quadri Simmons, able to get the Golden Rams deep into Panther territory.
And that's one thing the Golden Rams have found right now. They try to get in a rhythm, and I think Caleb Edmonds is now getting in that rhythm, so they want to hurry this up and keep that rhythm going.
40-yard pass reception for Simmons, and as you can see, he tries to take it to the second level, slips a little bit. Going to have a run play here by Albany State, goes nowhere. Good job by the Panther defense, able to stop them there with no gain for Jarvis Small.
And that was a tough run because Small was anticipating getting the ball, but Edmond was still reading that defensive end and didn't know whether or not to pull it and run or give it to Small. And that indecision cost them possibly a few yards here on that play.
No gain, but none lost. Second down and 10. They can get inside the 5, get a first without scoring. 2 backs in the backfield for the Golden Rams. Give to Small again, and once again, good job by the Panther defense, able to make a good open field tackle. Leading the way, William Kinney on the tackle.
And Kinney, from the defensive end position, came unblocked from the backside, and that's not uncommon because in this day and age, a lot of teams, when they're running to a certain side, they don't block the backside defensive end. He did a great job of collapsing downfield.
Third down and 10. They don't want all that hard work that Simmons made on that reception to go for naught. They're going to try to get some points here some kind of way. Edmonds looking into the end zone. Oh, he overthrows him, had a receiver, but incomplete.
And that was a tough break for the Golden Rams.
Pass intended for Thomas Smith, but it goes awry, and he's pulling on that jersey like, wait a minute, how did my jersey get loose like that? Wasn't the wind.
Yeah, he's only had 2 receptions this season for 27 yards, but it's tough, so on comes the field goal unit.
Emilio Maldonado for the field goal attempt. Kick is up, and it is good. 30-yard field goal attempt. Timeout on the field, 4:48 in the first quarter, and it is Albany State who draws first blood. We'll see if Clark Atlanta can answer right here on Aspire. Don't miss the Graduates NYC Saturdays during HBCU Live games at halftime and at Aspire.tv. One of the many series that are brought to you by Aspire. You can see it online. You can also see it at halftime of this game. Very interesting reality-based show using HBCU students trying to make their way through New York City, the metropolis of America.
And I can't wait to see it at halftime.
Emilio Maldonado to kick. Clark Atlanta trying to find a way to answer. Jackson had a kick return already brought back. Can he match it again? But this time, special teams and a little bit of fatigue may have set in because he only got it out to about the 16-yard line.
This time, a good job by the Albany State special teams, getting downfield, staying in their lanes, breaking down. He had nowhere to go. So now it's 1st and 10 for the Clark Atlanta Panthers deep in their own territory.
They're going to spread it out, have a 4 wide receiver set for Jonathan McCrary. He played at Vanderbilt, graduated in 7.5 semesters, found a new home here as he goes to grad school, still has 2 years of eligibility this year and next year. Good throw and catch there. Catch made by Mike Hardy, one of the many receivers that McCrary uses. He was a high school All-American. You see his numbers so far this year, rather impressive. 107 for 187, 1,626 yards, 13 TDs as opposed to 7 interceptions. And remember, he just got here to start of the fall season, so he's really trying to learn the team as he goes along, doing a great job. McCrary now finds a good receiver in Dre Martin. Martin able to get some positive yards, enough for a first down, and they move the chains.
Dre Martin is one of his favorite go-to guys. He's targeted him about 20 times this season. As we watch, he throws, Martin makes a move, gets upfield, gets what he can, but right there is that dirty blue defense to shut him down. No yak or yards after the catch.
Staying in the spread. Nice long throw and incomplete. Pass intended for Yashura Mawada, and incomplete, really basically went in and out of his hands.
And I think he saw or heard footsteps coming in the man of number 6, Marquez Hodem.
Second down and 10, staying in the spread. Give to his up back, and he's able to scamper and possibly gain a couple of yards. Matthew Daniels on the carry. Now, Daniels does have a slight injury. They're saying that he injured some part of his hand, so carrying the ball may be a little bit of a task for him, and that's his first carry to really sort of test it out.
And I look for him because he leads the team in rushing with 697 yards. So he's going to want to play in this game because this is the biggest game that Clark Atlanta has had in many, many years.
5 wide receiver set, and now play is stopped. And for the Dirty Blue defense, obviously their defensive coordinators did not like what they saw, so they called the timeout rather than for Clark Atlanta. 2:47 left to play. I think they feel this is a big play because they can really push Clark Atlanta back for another punting situation. They don't want to give up a big play to continue this drive because they are nursing a 3-point lead and they're trying to add on to it.
And you are right. That's exactly what they want to do. I'm looking for the secondary, even though we talk about that defensive line for the Albany State Golden Rams being the forefront or the glue on that defense. That secondary has done a great job today in when a catch was allowed, not allowing any yards after the catch, or some folks like to call it yak.
Do they call it yak in Albany? Because I know that I'm not supposed to say Albany, it's Albany.
Some people call it Albany, some people call it Albany.
That sounds the same.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're starting the chess match early. Normally you see this in the last few seconds of a half, but rather than that, now Clark Atlanta has called a timeout. Now remember, the ball is on Clark's 26-yard line. They still have to go basically 2 minutes and 47 seconds. We're still in the first quarter. I think this lets you know the magnitude of this game for Kevin Ramsey and also the magnitude of this game for Coach Lands, the head coach at Albany State. This is homecoming for them. You never, ever want to lose homecoming. But for Clark Atlanta, this would be like a shot to the moon for their program.
Exactly. This is something that every player dreams of being a part of. And now that these Clark Atlanta student athletes are there, they're excited.
You see, last time they met, Albany State won 26-14. Talking to Coach Ramsey, said last year they had a touchdown call back that could have kept them in the game even closer. McCrary, nice throw and catch, nice spin move, able to get some positive yardage. Yashura Mawada able to get them close, but not enough for the first down. He made up for that drop pass that he had previously on the drive, able to secure that reception. Good job by McCrary to go back to that receiver.
And you watch the replay, McQuarrie does a good job finding the receiver, but right there was Johnny on the spot, Emmanuel Brown, to make the tackle. Albany State 28% on third downs. Once again, the defense comes off the field and gets another stop.
Woods once again on to punt, and back deep for Albany State, Tyler Story. Story looking, you can already see his hands up in the air because the sun can be a factor. Almost blocked. It looks like the punter ran into literally the Albany State special teamers. Takes a Clark Atlanta bounce, goes inside the 30, down at about the 28-yard line, and that's where the Golden Rams will take over for one of their final drives, should be their final drive of the first quarter. So far what we've seen is the Dirty Blue defense, just as advertised. They're able to bend but not break, and for Albany State's offense, they've been able to find some seams and make a big play.
And that is what you call Albany State football. That's what they call Albany State football, as the offense takes possession here. They call themselves, even you've got the dirty blue defense, the offense calls themselves the Gold Rush offense.
Gold Rush, and they are looking to find some nuggets right now. Nice move, inside goal. McKinley Habersham. Habersham trying to find some room to run and does in the Clark Atlanta territory. Huge first down. Nice job by the freshman, making a big impact.
And he was a guy that emerged because of the injury to Jarvis Small. 44 rushes this season for 203 yards. He is actually, outside of Caleb Edmonds, he's the team's second leading rusher.
Edmonds getting some pressure, and this time he goes down. Nice sack by Jacob Mitchell, playing that middle linebacker position. A senior, he knows what's at stake, and he's making sure that he makes his name heard today.
And right here, Mitchell comes off the right up the middle, makes the play, picks up his third sack of the season.
Pace is important for the Golden Ram offense, the Gold Rush offense, because when they're moving at a faster pace, they're catching Clark Atlanta in inopportune situations. 4 wide receiver set. Edmonds takes the low snap. Oh, incomplete, intended for Habersham, and that was a forward pass, and they should have a flag thrown, and yes, it is the flag. And now we're going to have a little love between the two teams. Have a little love there. It's homecoming. We're supposed to hug and say, I haven't seen you in a while.
And with the implications of this game, emotions are going to be high.
And this is really city going to the country. Clark Atlanta, just left for his namesake, the merger of Clark College and Atlanta College.
Mm-hmm.
They're the city guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming to Albany, which is in the rural part of the state. And now the officials are just trying to make sure that they get the call right.
Following the play, personal foul, offense number 80, 15-yard penalty, third down.
And if you watch, the officials stop play, and the Albany State receiver makes a tackle. Out comes the flag, a good call by the officials.
Rodell Shorter was the receiver on the play. They push him back, but they're trying to make up for it. A little pushing and shoving, a little love right there between the two. An incomplete pass intended for Thomas Smith.
And I think Thomas Smith might have given up a little bit on that route. Had he extended himself, he would have probably made that reception, and it would have been first down and possibly goal for the Golden Rams, if not a touchdown.
Right now we see an early chess match with the Golden Rams of Albany State with a 3-0 lead. Both coaches know what's at stake for Albany. They're trying to maintain an opportunity to win the Eastern Division for back-to-back seasons. For Clark Atlanta, win, and they are Eastern Division champs. Fair catch call, and this ball will take a Albany State bounce but go into the end zone for a touchback.
So that ball will come out to the 20, just a little too much English on there. What they try to teach kickers to do, or punters to do, is to put a little backspin when the ball hits to bounce a little backwards. And very few people have mastered that.
I just try to kick the ball. I don't know whether it's going to spin. It's like my golf game. I can't, make it backspin. I just want to get it close.
Yeah. But we all want to be Tiger Woods. I wish I was.
Tiger's got to come back first.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. First and 10 from the 20. McCrary. Oh, a spin, gets out of danger and slides down. Smart move. Able to get some positive yards out of, and you see right there, Grover Stewart. Grover is on the hunt, and that is one of the highest profile SIAC players this season. You're going to see a lot of number 99. This is a young man who is a 4-time All-SIAC performer. He is an All-American, and this is a young man who has Albany State blue blood flowing through his body generationally. and through his siblings who have all played here at Albany State.
10 sacks this season. He is not going to be denied. And we talk about Grover Stewart, and the thing is, this guy is so big, I think I could fry fish in his belly button.
We have come down to the end of the first quarter. 3-0 is your score. Homecoming 2016, Albany State, right here on Aspire.
From the first moment you met,
This was owned by the city?
No. They tried.
Once again here at the Albany State Municipal Coliseum, James Verrett along with Eric Tabor, and you see the fans who have gone to homecoming parade, tailgate. Now they're here at the football game for homecoming 2016. Jonathan McCrary starting the second quarter, trying to avoid some defenders, and does, and slides his way out to another first down, out to about the 31-yard line, 1st and 10, and they move the chains.
We talk about him being a dual threat, and he shows you once again when nothing is open downfield, he decides he's going to tuck it under. He tucks it under here, makes a move, gets positive yards, gets the first down, gets down so he doesn't get hit. Smart, heady player, grad student, outstanding athlete.
Getting his master's in counseling, he's already obtained a degree from Vanderbilt, a high school All-American who was a part-time starter for the Commodores. Nice pitch and catch throw, and he is slung down. Another positive play there by Yoshida Mawada, able to get some positive yards before he's slung out of bounds.
And here, a quick throw out to Mawada, but the Albany State defense right there to shut things down.
Brown on the tackle for Albany State. Second and call it 8 for the first. McCrary with time. Good, nice second level reception made by Jonathan Sanders. Good throw and catch, enough to move the chains. And that's what you would call a major Division I throw and catch.
You're right. He throws it over the linebacker, underneath the safety, right where only his man can make the reception. His guy makes the catch, gets down, gets positive yards, first down. Clark, Atlanta, the Panthers are on the prowl.
And for Jonathan McCrary, the quarterback, this was not a situation where he was disgruntled or anything else at Vanderbilt or kicked off the team. He was just looking for greener pastures because he had served his time. Big hit, and the Dirty Blue defense is stepping up in a major way. Nick Scott right there with the tackle. Dirty Blue defense, that's part of the dirty, right?
That is. Scott coming up from his free safety position, sheds a block, and finishes the drill. Just looked like a loss on the play, but they're going to give him forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. Nick Scott, another one of those preseason all-conference picks. Look for him to make some major contributions today.
5 wide. McCrary getting some pressure, looking for a receiver, and overthrows him. Oh, just a little bit too much mustard on that one. I know he wants to have that one back.
And that was Wade Barlow, who was open. They got the matchup that they wanted. They got him on Zavondrick Shingleton, Albany State's linebacker. When anytime you get a receiver on a linebacker, you know what that means.
Now, for the people who have followed Jonathan McCrary's career, there was some inklings that he had possibly enrolled at Mercer after he left Vanderbilt. He went there to visit, but never enrolled, never got an offer there. He found a home at Clark, Atlanta, same place where a lot of his family members there. Flag is thrown. McCrary having some room to run. He gets a couple of yards, but this may be all coming back for a possible hold. That's normally where you see that yellow laundry.
And Zane Field was on the ground and he was pinned down, and you cannot do that in college football. Just laying on top of a guy is also considered a hold for an offensive lineman.
John Holmes, he's just a sophomore, reserve right tackle. And you see Ken Ramsey right there, coach. He was really brought in as head coach late last season, and really last season was basically a do-over season. He had to get used to the team had to get used to him. This is really his first full spring and fall with the Panthers. Punting situation for Clark. They get it off. A nice punt. It will take a Clark Atlanta bounce. They have some time, but the special team are unable to get to the ball before it is a touchback, and that's where Albany State will take over. After 1 quarter of action, 12-14 left to play in the half. We're up 3-0 if you're a Golden Ram fan. If you're Clark Atlanta, you're looking for more right here on Inspire.
As part of it, the president.
And the fans are already enjoying that last sense of sunshine as summer really comes to an end and fall is really kicking in here in Southwest Georgia. It is a windy day, but still temperatures in the high 60s, low 70s with a nice, strong, brisk wind going across the stadium. Pass incomplete. Caleb Edmonds trying to connect with his wide receiver, but unable to do so. Reception intended for Takevian Harris, but incomplete. And for the Golden Rams Gold Rush offense, they're averaging about 330 yards a game. They're led by Caleb Edmonds, who has really had to take on a larger role offensively due to the fact that they're also leading running back Jarvis Small has been hampered by injury. Edmonds almost intercepted. Could have been a disastrous situation if you're a fan of Albany State, but a great situation if you were Clark Atlanta. Victram with the possible interception.
And that play was actually on Caleb Edmonds. He did not look off the safety, Victram, and Victram just floated right into the path of the ball. Almost had an early Halloween treat.
It is that season, trick or treat, 3rd and long. Edmonds running out of real estate, and he will smartly throw the ball away.
Edmonds did a good job there in just managing this and not trying to force anything, because he almost gave a gift to the previous play. So you live to fight another day. You punt it. You let that dirty blue defense try to step up, get the football back, and try to go to work once again.
Jackson to receive for Clark. And a short punt, stops in midfield, takes a Clark Atlanta bounce, and it is down at midfield, and that's where the Panthers will take over. Outside of the kick return that was called back after a 99-yard kick return for a score, they have been unable to get anywhere close. 40-yard punt there by Terry Wiley. So far, the wind has not played a factor for these quarterbacks. Jonathan McCrary, the young man from Cedar Grove High School here in the state of Georgia, coming home to play for Clark Atlanta in grad school. He was hit on the play and incomplete. Pass intended for Mawada. Mawada has been finding ways to get open, but has been unable to consistently secure the football.
Now, I'll tell you what I'm impressed by right now. We talk about how good McQuarrie is as he throws the football. He put it only where his guy could get it. Doesn't make the reception, but you kind of see that tutelage of the offensive coordinator, Richard Moncrief, former ACC All-American.
Played at Clemson. Clemson having an incredible year this year. Quarterback-to-quarterback conversation, very essential when you're trying to establish an offensive mindset. McCrary on second down. This time he does find Jaha McCray, but McCray goes nowhere fast. Right there in the middle, able to get the nice defensive play is Marquez Thomas.
And here he finds McCray right in that fold, right up underneath the linebackers. And the Albany State defense steps up. Marquez Thomas delivers the kill blow.
Third down, call it 4 yards. They need to get to the 40-yard line to make sure they have enough for the first. McCrary with time. Has to use his magician moves. Finds his receiver in McCrary, but this time he only maybe gets 1 yard. Good solid defense there by Davis on the tackle.
Aaron Davis, a cornerback, drops into coverage. He plays his own, sees where the football is, steps up, delivers the kill shot. 4th down. Albany State once again is the Johnny on the spot as the defense makes the play.
Another punting situation for the Panthers. Fair catch called by Story into the end zone for another touchback. And we've got some love going on there near midfield. Because it's homecoming, everybody loves each other.
Yeah.
Little extracurricular going on, and there was a flag thrown at about the 42-yard line.
Yeah, everybody wants to get out and enjoy some of that barbecue all over the place.
Now see, I didn't say anything about food. I just said people were tailgating. You were talking specific, so I know where you're going after the game.
Exactly. I might be going that way before the end of the game.
During the kick, personal foul, number 42 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Clark Atlanta.
Self-inflicted wounds by the Panthers. Coach Ramsey does not like to see that from his team, and for the Albany State fans, they are holding their breath, seeing if they can expand on this lead right here on Aspire.
Why am I so devastated?
Because that's...
And you see the fans decked out in their blue and gold, and the helmets are pewter and blue and gold. There's a story behind that. I think one of the former presidents liked the color and decided, okay, we're just going to have pewter helmets, even though that's not even the school color, but we're going to have it, and it's become a tradition, one of the many traditions here at Albany State. Running play here by Caleb Edmonds, and he gets some positive yards. Check that McKinley Habersham on the carry. Habersham has a very aggressive style of running. He's able to find a hole, get through quick.
And that's due to his running backs coach, Kareem Hess.
Give to Habersham. Oh, he finds another hole, had 2 holes there, went through the one that was a little bit more difficult, gets closer to midfield, enough for the first down. This is a young man trying to take advantage of the opportunity that's given to him.
And that's right, because next season, this might be his team to put him on his shoulders.
Give to Small able to gain 1, possibly 2 yards before he's brought down. And right now, I think fatigue may be starting to set in for that Panther defense because they have been on the field a little while longer. You're starting to see some guys cramping up a little bit, trying to get off the field. Got to move personnel in and out in order to keep them fresh because this is going to be a long battle today. Small on the carry. Once again, the senior shows and proves that if you give him a little hole, the little small back can also get some big yards, enough for another first down. They move the chains.
And Small sees the lane and he explodes, and you can still see he's got a little hitch in his giddy up still.
Once again, give to Small. The running attack is working for the Gold Rush offense. They're getting one little nugget, another little nugget, with Jarvis Small carrying the majority of the weight.
And that's a testament to their offensive coordinator, Steve Smith. Steve Smith, an All-American in college, but he was also offensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys under Bill Parcells.
Gives again to Small. This time it was the Panthers able to stop him cold. No gain there to bring up a third down situation.
Are we in now? Hey coaches, are we in now?
So now decision time for the Gold Rush offense of Albany State.
Hey, we got one, Steve, we got one.
Do you continue to run or you want to throw it a little bit?
Steve Smith is, you know, with him being the offensive line coach, he's going to want to pound it.
Edmonds throwing, finds a receiver, but overthrows him. Oh, intended for Michael Green, but a little bit too much for the young man who only stands at 5'11". If he was 6'5", maybe that would have worked.
But Michael Green has jumping ability. He's also the shooting guard on the Albany State basketball team.
Oh, he does. He can leap. Oh,
yes.
Well, I don't think his vertical's that high. And remind me, don't let you buy my lottery tickets.
Will do.
Fourth down, punting situation. And Wiley gets it all. And it will take a good bounce out at about the, call it the 12-yard line. Good overall 38-yard punt for Terry Wiley. When we come back, we'll see if Clark Atlanta can work themselves out of a hole as they trail by 3 here on Aspire. They're expecting a sellout crowd as people are still coming in here at Albany State Stadium, Coliseum, as Clark Atlanta trying to make something happen, and the pitch and catch does not work for McCrary, trying to pull that ball back. They're trying to find a running back, but unable to do so. Brings up a 2nd down and 10.
And DeAndre Jackson was open for a split second, but he saw some heavy lumber coming, and he decided it's best for me to let that ball go.
So far, Jonathan McCrary, everything advertised. He's leading the team in rushing and also 10 of 14, 58 yards passing. Trying for a nice throw and catch using those long arms, able to get some positive yards is Dre Martin. And once again, if he can get the ball to his receivers, he's able to get some positives there. Grover Stewart from his defensive line position able to make the tackle, and you can see him on the 2nd level able to come over there and help out on the play.
And that's why you talk about Grover Stewart being the man on this game. That's why you want to see him, and you'll see him playing on the next level next season.
1st and 10 for the Panthers out to the 32. McCrary getting pressure, gets out to the back to the line of scrimmage. They may call it a covered sack or a run for a loss. He may be a half a yard away from the line of scrimmage, which is the 32. They say that it was a loss of 1. Give credit to Grover Stewart there on the tackle once again.
An unbelievable move by McQuarrie just to get out of there.
2nd and 11. McCrary. Nice high throw. Oh, that was incomplete. Could have been a great catch by Mike Hardy. He caught it high, but when he brought it down, he released it.
And I think right there, Hardy was trying to look before he ran with the football, and as he was coming down, he tried to turn without securing the football, thus making it incomplete, and a 3rd down and long.
Selby there for what I call the ghost tackle. He really didn't tackle him, but just being there.
Yes.
You know, that little split second made him lose the football.
One thing that Coach Land instills in this team is to be aggressive.
You can hear the fans calling on the Dirty Blue defense. New quarterback in, Deshaun Blow, and Blow had the play blown up by the Dirty Blue defense.
And a name we haven't called all day, Monte Taylor, defensive end, Johnny on the spot. Taylor picking up his 1st sack of the 2016 season.
Dirty Blue defense stepping up and so far pitching a shutout with 5 minutes left to go in the half. Wood gets it out to, able to get some positive yards. Does the return man in Story. Tyler Story. Good job by Woods to get the punt out there.
And a great
56-yard punt.
A great shoestring tackle by Profit that saved a possible touchdown.
Now for the Rams, they're trying to add on to this lead of 3 points. Last drive, they tried to use the ground attack, got close, but not close enough to score. This time give the Small, and Small may have gained a yard or gotten back to the original line of scrimmage.
That offensive line of Albany State are a bunch of earth movers. They're getting after it, and they're plowing the road, even though Small only picked up 2 yards. When you start calling linebackers and guys from the secondary making the tackle, that tells you that offensive line is doing an outstanding job.
They will give him 1 positive yard to make it 2nd and 9. Edmonds. Another high throw. This time that was intended for Thomas Smith.
And I think a lot of this that's going on with Edmonds is he's had several passes tipped this season that have been tipped interceptions, and so he's just trying to elevate those throws just a little bit. Now they're a little high and kind of sailing on him, and maybe this breeze and this wind might have an effect on his passes today.
So far, the wind is a crosswind going across from the home side to the visitor side of the stadium. Edmonds still looking to that sideline, looking for Smith again, this time in his hand, but he didn't use 2 hands and dropped it.
And we talk about coming into this game, Thomas Smith has only had 2 receptions this season for a total of 27 yards. One of them was a 20-yard gain in week 3 against Southeastern University.
Wiley. Jackson back deep, and he's going to say get away from it. And the ball is down at about the 24-yard line. And that's where Clark Atlanta will take over. Offense has really only been able to make 1 or 2 plays, 56 yards on the punt by Wiley, but unable to get a touchdown, as they say, that'll stick. They had the opening kickoff called back due to a block in the back. It was a 99-yard kickoff return by DeAndre Jackson, but other than that, they have not gone anywhere close. Blow still staying in at quarterback. Nice throw, pitch and catch, and possibly intercepted but dropped. Nick Scott right there, the do-everything safety. This time he was unable to bring that one in.
All SIAC preseason first-team safety. He is a guy that you have to look and account for. Not only will he close on the run game, but he can also cover as well from his free safety position.
2nd down and 10. Second quarterback used today for Clark Atlanta and Deshaun Blow. Blow, nice pitch and catch. Good reception made, enough for the first down. Trenton Earl, first time we've called his name. He is one of the guys potentially to make all SIAC at the receiver position. A senior, he understands what's at stake today.
26 receptions so far this season. He's got 3 touchdown passes. Clark Atlanta is in hurry-up mode now.
Blow, nice pitch and catch. Once again, second reception in a row to Earl. Goes out of bounds close to the first down marker. He may be about 2 yards short.
We talk about Earl. He is a game changer. You get the ball in his hands where he can create something, and he normally will. He's had an 83-yard run for a touchdown this season, and all you have to do is get the ball to him in space, and he'll make a play.
2nd and short, less than 3 minutes to play in the half. Clark trying to get on the board. Blow, with time, getting some pressure on the backside. He eludes one defender and another. He finds a way to get open again. Great catch by Jaha McCray. Enough for the first down. Great magician move by the quarterback and great acrobatic catch by McCray.
And that's when you talk about players, when you see players that want it. It seems like right now Clark Atlanta wants it. You see magician move right here by Dre. He gets outside, gets away from the pressure, finds McCray down the sideline. A one-handed Odell Beckham catch.
Hands may not be that big. Blow once again. He's like Merlin back there. Once again, eludes one of the Dirty Blue defenders, able to get some positive yards.
You look at it and you wondered what was going on and why they replaced McQuarrie, but Blow is coming in because they split time earlier this season. The first 3 games of the year, both of these quarterbacks shared time, and McQuarrie took over the starting job in week 5.
He is sort of like a booster for this offense. Once again, pitch and catch made, enough for another first down, move the chains, reception made by Dre Martin. It seemed as though whatever McCrary could not do, Blow has come in and been able to make those negatives into positives.
And Blow finding the open man right underneath, in between the zone coverage of Albany State. Pitch and catch, first and goal, and we've got a stoppage in play.
And you can see Dan Land on the sideline. He is upset at his Dirty Blue defense because right now they look like they are dirty retreating rather than dirty aggressive.
And they are playing on their heels right now. It seems like Clark Atlanta has found that groove, found that niche, and kicked it in gear, where now they're able to move the ball, and this is the Clark Atlanta team that we were expecting to see today, and now we're seeing that Clark Atlanta offense.
Very quick and explosive, and it seems as though after Blow had that first little piece of action in the last series, this series, he's moving at a faster pace.
Definitely. It's definitely an outstanding job by this offense. And once again, I like to call him a quarterback whisperer. Richard Moncrief doing an unbelievable job in play calling on this drive.
A little bit under a minute left. Make sure you stay tuned. Don't miss the graduates on NYC. It'll be coming up at halftime. The reality show talking about HBCU players. Right now, it's Clark Atlanta trying to score, and this time it's Blow who throws incomplete, intended for his receiver, Trenton Earl.
On the coverage was Aaron Davis, defensive back for the Golden Rams. He has 3 pass breakups this season. And once again, he was Johnny on the spot to prevent that touchdown from happening.
Minute 38 left on the clock, and this is the closest we've seen Clark Atlanta on an offensive series get to the goal line and a possible score. Deshaun Blow has been everything advertised. Coming out of nowhere and shocking the crowd. This time he takes it on his own. 10-5, touchdown, Clark Atlanta. They're on the board.
And this play was set up. It was a great play call once again by Moncrief, the offensive coordinator. This was a design run all the way through. He dropped back, set it up, pulled the ball down, found a seam, took what the defense gives him, and it took him to the promised land. Pater, touchdown, Clark Atlanta Panther.
It seemed as though Jonathan McCrary was the Trojan horse, but the true person, point after attempt up, and it is good. With 1 minute 30 seconds left to play in the first half, we have what could possibly be a homecoming spoiler in Clark Atlanta, who now has a 7-3 lead, led by Deshaun Blow with a nice short touchdown run. And as you can see, the Clark Atlanta dancers, and they have some Clark Atlanta faithful. This is not necessarily a fan base known to travel, but Kevin Ramsey and his squad has the entire Clark Atlanta community in a buzz because they know a win today, they win the SIAC Eastern Division, and they're going to Montgomery for the SIAC championship game.
And everybody feels it, from the coaching staff to the fans. You see it all over the Clark Atlanta University Center. You see it in the cafeteria where the students eat. They're excited today.
Short kick, taken at about the 15, had some discussions who was going to get it. The up back, McKinley Habersham, takes it, and there's still some love going on there, some pushing and shoving. Remember, it's homecoming 2016. Clark Atlanta has been on the menu for many schools for many, many years for homecoming. Normally you think, okay, that's a guaranteed win, but not this year, not under Kevin Ramsey. The black and red of the Panthers have come out, and they're seeing red right now with a 7-3 lead.
You talk about a team that has turned it around. You would, in the preseason, you would say this would be David versus Goliath, and that's exactly what this is.
Edmonds and his Gold Rush offense with some time to try to answer and expand upon their 4-point lead.
And McKinley Habersham makes the reception for the Golden Rams.
Less than a minute to play in the first half. Caleb Edmonds trying to find something, and his receivers have not been reliable so far. Another drop pass, and good defensive play there by Jacob Mitchell, playing that middle linebacker, able to stay with those speedy receivers, even playing the middle linebacker position.
He has 30 tackles this year, 7.5 for loss and 2 sacks, so that tells you he's got some wheels on him, and he can get up the field and he can cover.
Third down. Edmonds. Nice pitch and catch. Reception made by Takevian Harris. Enough for the first down, and they move the chains, but time is not on their side. 47 seconds left in the first half. They have a 4-point lead, trying to expand it going into the half. Edmonds trying to move the offense faster. That one goes awry, threw it behind his intended receiver.
That one falls incomplete. They were a little out of rhythm. They were trying to hurry this offense up as they've only got about 38 seconds. So Albany State, they're trying to get something before the half, because they will get the ball to start the second half. So if they can get a score here, they will be in prime position to start the second half.
Edmonds with plenty of time and finds a receiver, enough for the first down. Reception made by Thomas Smith.
And Smith picking up another quick reception after dropping a few earlier in the game.
Now it's less than 30 seconds in the half. Edmonds got some room to run. He will keep it. Cuts the corner and knocked out of bounds about a yard short of the first. He is into Clark Atlanta territory, but they will give him that yard. 1st and 10, they'll move the chains for the Golden Rams.
He had an open receiver there, but he decided to tuck it and run. I don't know if he's worried about the ball sailing on him, but he got positive yards, a first down, gets out of bounds to stop the clock. Great play by that leader for the Gold Rush offense, Caleb Edmonds.
Pitch and catch. Defender gambled and lost. Reception made by Quadri Simmons. Enough for another first down. They're moving closer to that red zone. They get down to about the 26-yard line.
And right there, Julian Colvert went for the interception, but we've got a player down. Victrum went down after the play, but Colvert gambled and lost. And in these situations, you just want to bat the ball away. You don't want to go for the finishing move. You want to just go ahead and live to play another down.
And it looks like Victrum has something going on with that left leg, and he's going to try to jog it off. This is one of the weak side linebackers that basically is their do-everything linebacker in Jaquaden Victrum. He can run with wide receivers, and he can mix it up inside with some of those big guys on the line. But he only stands 5'11", 192 pounds, so he's really pushing it to the limit, playing that weak side linebacker position.
Believe it or not, he's had 6.5 sacks this season, which tells you he can get to the quarterback. And when you can blitz from a linebacker position, that tells me you can also cover.
Clark Atlanta uses their last time out, 10.2 seconds left in the half. And now that we look at Albany State, if you're talking to Caleb Edmonds right now, what are you trying to tell him with only 10 seconds? You may be able to get 2 or 3 plays off. Yul
Joyner, his quarterback coach, as you see him there in the shot, is trying to instill some confidence in him. Yul Joyner was an All-American quarterback at Albany State University during his day and led the Golden Rams to one of their most successful seasons. And he's been there. He tells his quarterbacks to play smart, play loose, have fun, but play fast.
Ten seconds left. Homecoming 2016 for Albany State here at Albany State Memorial Coliseum, Municipal Coliseum. Edmonds, pitch and catch to Smith, and they're going to say he bobbled the ball, incomplete. Did not have possession when he went out of bounds. Let's see.
Once again, we see Edmonds roll out.
Bang, bang play.
And that wasn't a good angle to tell, but to me, from that angle, it looked like he made the reception. And he had possession. The only question I would have had here is, did he get a foot in bounds?
1 second.
1 second left. Emilio Maldonado will attempt a 44-yard field goal. And it is short. And it hits the B in the end zone for Albany State, and that's where we will end the first half. Victrum is down for Clark Atlanta, but after one half of play, it is 7-3 in favor of Clark Atlanta. And if you're Albany State, you've got to find a way to come back into this game and regain the lead. If you're Clark Atlanta, you're trying to expand it going into the second half.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Abloh. If you've struggled to lose weight, you might think you were born with a slow metabolism. Well, that's what these people thought.
But the truth is, a slow metabolism can be created by a condition called insulin resistance. Once you have insulin resistance, fat becomes trapped inside your body, and it becomes very difficult to lose weight, even if you diet. To make matters worse, many diet shakes and bars, diet meal replacements, and quick fix.
Right. Welcome back to Homecoming 2016 right here at Albany, Georgia at Albany State University. Now it's time for the Graduates NYC. See how the graduates rally together to support the community in the wake of the police shootings around the country. This is an episode you don't want to miss. The Graduates NYC. Welcome back to Aspire's presentation of the SIAC Game of the Week. Homecoming here 2016 on the campus of Albany State University. And watch as we show the Marching Rams show band of Albany State University. Enjoy. a wonderful production there by the Marching Ram Show Band. 7-3 is your score. Clark Atlanta has the lead, trying to play homecoming spoiler for the Golden Rams. When we come back, more of the halftime festivities right here on Aspire. And the homecoming faithful here at Albany State Municipal Coliseum enjoying the Marching Ram Show Band as we are right here, and they're duking it out between Clark Atlanta and Albany State. Halftime score 7-3 in favor of the Panthers of Clark Atlanta. When we come back, we'll have more of the halftime festivities, Aspire's presentation of the SIAC Game of the Week. More coming up next. On the field. Halftime score here at Albany State homecoming, 7-3 in favor of the visitors, Clark Atlanta. My name's James Verrett, along with the president of Albany State, Arthur Dunning, and also Ron Johnson with Clark Atlanta. Gentlemen, thank you for joining Aspire. How has everything been going, Mr. Dunning, as far as the homecoming activities?
It's been extraordinary. We've had thousands of people come to Albany. This is always in the spirit of coming back to reconnect. We've deeply enjoyed this experience.
All right, now for the visitors, when you try to come to somebody's homecoming, they try to put on a good show, especially for the presidents. They wine and dine you, but you're trying to spoil this homecoming.
Well, you know, they have a huge crowd out here, and so I'm hoping that that if we do what we came here to do, that we can get out of town quick.
All right, for President Dunning, you guys are starting the new you. You're merging with another institution there. You're bringing all of them in. How has that transformation been going?
I think it's going well. One of the things we know about mergers and consolidations with the private sector, bringing two cultures together is always an interesting process. And we're finding that out. We're finding there's great things we have going on, and other things we have to be more patient with. And what I like about this consolidation, it brings together an array of academic programs that can help transform Southeast Georgia. And I'm delighted about that.
All right.
As you would expect, it's heavy lifting.
I hear you. It is heavy lifting. Now, for Clark Atlanta, you guys have really been one of the survivors. When you think about the AU Center, you've been standing strong along with Morehouse and Spelman. The progress of your athletic program is something a lot of the alumni has been waiting a long time for. Has it finally arrived?
Yes, it has. We have worked very, very diligently to put together not only a football team and coach, but an athletic director, Lynn Dawson, who really understands how to put together a complete cadre of coaches and teams. Most recently, of course, bringing in Darryl Walker for basketball. Our women's teams have been strengthened with new assistant coaches. We've kept the lead coaches, and so it's really working out.
And when we think about the academic side, President Dunning, you guys have been awarded a part of a grant that will help enhance some of the studies that go on at Albany State, correct?
It's close to it, James. His mic's not working. Closer. The Wallace Foundation gave $47 million to universities across the country. We received 7 of the 47, and it's to look at the development and training of principals of public schools and private schools. Yeah. One of the things I like about that, we all know that if we have a good principal,
okay, let's take a break, gang.
In the school concerning academic achievement. We're in a section of the state where we don't just need good schools, we need superb schools. And many of our young people, those 12 years, is a foundation piece of being successful in this country and successful in post-secondary education.
All right, thank you, President Dunning. President Johnson, thank you for joining us halftime. We'll have more halftime festivities. Halftime score, Clark Atlanta with a 4-point lead, but I know the Golden Rams, particularly Mr. Dunning, would like to see his team come back. We'll have more right here on the spot. All right, the fans have had an opportunity to see the homecoming court, see the seniors, and also see some great football. James Verrett along with Eric Tabor. And Eric, the first half has been a surprise if you're a Golden Ram fan.
But it's everything that you would expect. He finds Quadre Simmons makes a move. Quadre Simmons almost takes it to the house, gets brought down. They settle for a field goal. So now it's 3-0 Albany State. Coming right back behind him is quarterback.
See Deshaun Blow, and great acrobatic catch there by Jaha McCray. And also Deshaun Blow will do everything. He's more like a magician there, finding his open receivers, able to give them the game-leading drive on a nice short run to get the only touchdown so far in the first half. And right now, that's where Clark Atlanta stands with a 7-3 lead. And right now, Eric, we are ready to start the second half. What would you like to see from the Golden Rams?
For Albany State, they're going to have to continue doing what they know how to do. Run the football, play action pass, move the chains, drive the ball down the field. One of the things Coach Land talked about was he has not seen his team play a complete game, and they play in spurts, and we want to see them turn it up. I always talk about when you start the second half of the game, the first two possessions to start the second half are the most important possessions of a football contest.
All right, Carlos Saldana to kick for Clark Atlanta. And they go nowhere fast. A poor return inside the 10-yard line down to about the 9. And now for Albany State, this is an offense that can be explosive at times. We saw that in the first half, but they've been unable to convert that into a touchdown. They've only had to settle for a field goal so far in the game.
And now the Golden Rams are going to have to travel 91 yards to get to the promised land and score a touchdown to take a lead in this contest.
First half, statistically, Albany State led with 175 total yards as opposed to Clark Atlanta with 160. And now the defense for the black and red of Clark Atlanta stepping up big right now. Talking to President Johnson, he would like to see his athletic program meet the high standards that's already been met by the academic side. And right now, they're on the verge of doing that, something that they haven't done in well over 20 years or more. And that's win something of a football championship, and it's going to be right here if they can take care of business in this second half.
And we talk about that because Clark Atlanta's only had five win seasons since 2000.
Edmonds finding some room to run and steps out of bounds enough for a first down. He has had to carry a heavy load because offensively his receivers have not been able to hold on to the football, so he takes matters into his own hands.
And he is that quintessential dual threat quarterback, the guy that if he can't beat you with his arm, he can beat you with his feet.
Gives to Small. Check that, Habersham having some room to run. Great run by McKinley Habersham. The freshman is showing that he needs some more playing time, and he's trying to get the natives here at Albany State hyped up for the game.
This play was set up by the offensive line getting to the second level and freeing him up to make big yards, and you see that once again.
Habersham, once again, the defense for Clark Atlanta have not been able to crack the code and stop McKinley Habersham. The young man had a 25-yard run, now another 9-yard run to bring down 2nd and 1 into Clark Atlanta territory, moving at a fast pace. Edmonds now getting some pressure on the backside. They're trying to get him. They can. He keeps his feet. Great balance by the senior quarterback, able to get enough yards close to a first down. They say move the chains. Second first down had on this drive by the Golden Gold Rush offense.
And you see Edmonds come through, making a play. He does what he needs to do to keep those chains moving and give the Albany State Golden Rams another first down.
Seems as though they had to catch their breath on offense. Slowing the pace a little, giving it to Small. Small breaks the line of scrimmage, may have gained 1 yard. Vickram on the tackle.
And Vickram, once again, was not blocked on that play, allowing him to make that tackle.
Standing at 5'11", sometimes it's hard for those linemen to get down to his level. Nice throw, incomplete. Intended for Michael Green, and once again, those receivers, when they are called upon, when they need them the most, they have not been able to meet the task of catching the football.
Coming into this game, Michael Green had 23 receptions. He's had 2 touchdown passes, but that time he just couldn't quite haul it in. It hit him in a bad place, his hands.
Now, when you're receiving the bad places, your hands, that may mean you need to change positions. 3rd down and long, ball in Clark Atlanta territory. Edmonds with time. Has some room to run. Did he break the line of scrimmage? They say no. Throw catch made. Enough for the 1st down. Good reception there for Albany State, and they move the chains. Catch made by number 80, Rodell Shorter.
And once again, his athleticism, Caleb Edmonds wills the 1st down for the Golden Rams, and we've got a whistle and a stoppage in play.
Clark Atlanta calls a timeout. We'll take one with him. 12:04 left to play in the 3rd quarter. It is Clark Atlanta holding on to a 7-3 lead, but the Golden Rams Gold Rush offense on the move right here on Aspire.
Liberty Mutual Insurance.
And you see the show band, the Golden Rams show band, trying to get a little rest, but they are intensely watching their offense on the move. Caleb Edmonds looking to throw, finds a receiver in Habersham. He has some room to run. 10, 5, touchdown McKinley Habersham. The Golden Rams regain the lead.
That play was excellently designed. It was executed perfectly. The biggest thing was they got the defensive end to bite upfield just enough to slip Habersham behind him, and guess what? Mama, I'm coming home with a touchdown.
McKinley Habersham with the score, his 2nd touchdown of the season. Rushing, well, 2nd touchdown passing, excuse me. And with 11:56 left to play in the 3rd quarter, Golden Rams regain the lead.
And once again, Habersham making the play, making the most of what the defense gives him. And that play, once again, was set up by great offensive line blocking and allowing that defensive end to get upfield.
And we'll see if Albany State can continue this lead right here on Aspire.
Forge of Empires. Develop your own city from the Stone Age to modernity. Available in the App Store and at FOE.tv.
Welcome back to Albany State Municipal Coliseum. And now it's the Golden Rams that have the 10-7 lead. Reception made by Jackson. Jackson trying to get a return. This time he goes negatively on yardage, goes back, and he has to pay the price, goes back to about the 6-yard line. That's where the Panthers will take over.
And the Albany State Special Teams unit is showing now they're trying to exert their will.
And the key is who will be at quarterback for Clark Atlanta. We saw Jonathan McCrary. Now we're going to see Deshaun Blow. He drove the Panthers down for their only score so far in the game. And now a flag, looks like movement along the offensive line for the Panthers. and that'll move them further back closer to their own end zone.
And it looked like number 76, Tashawn Henderson. Tashawn Henderson jumped off sides, and he's a mammoth of an individual, over 300 pounds, and once you start that big locomotive moving, it's hard to stop.
So instead of 1st and 10, ball at the 11-yard line, it is 1st and 10, the ball at the 5. Blow working out of his own end zone, gives it to Jaha McCray, and he gets a few of those yards back, maybe 1 or 2 to bring up 2nd down and 12.
You talk about unbelievable defensive linemen, but that interior 3, because the Albany State Rams play a 3-4 defense, those 3 down linemen are doing a fantastic job in shutting down that Clark Atlanta rush attack between the tackles.
Second and 12. Pace slowing down a little bit for Blow. When he came into the game, they were moving at lightning pace in the first half. Blow with some time. Throws, finds a receiver, and he's able to gain 1, possibly 2 yards. Got back to the original line of scrimmage. Brings up a 3rd down situation. Trevia Bryant on the reception.
And you know, Bryant got out in the flat, tried to make a play, could not get up the field because that Golden Ram defense was right there to close off and finish the drill.
3rd down and 11 yards. Keeper by Blow and quickly snuffed out, and right there is number 94 for Albany State, and that's Monty Taylor. He's not the Blues whaler like Johnny Taylor, but he brings the Blues to Clark Atlanta as they are forced into a punting situation.
Once again, that interior 3 of the Golden Rams, I don't know what happened at halftime, but apparently Coach Huff has challenged each one of those guys to step up and make a play, and those guys have answered the bell so far.
And the wind is playing a little bit with the balls as they go up in the air on the punts, and it takes a Clark Atlanta bounce, but it really doesn't go very far. Possibly a 41, 42-yard punt, stays on Clark Atlanta's side of the field, which means short field for Albany State, and if it's a short field, that means advantage Golden Rams.
So now let's see if this Gold Rush offense can capitalize on a 3 and out by the Dirty Blue defense.
Give to Small, and Small is stonewalled by the Panthers. Great job leading the way is the defensive front for Clark Atlanta, number 93, Mikael LeSueur.
He had a little help, and they stuffed Jarvis Small in the backfield.
Second down and 14. And now all that positive yards of a short field by the Dirty Blue defense, they're moving back. And you don't want to see that if you're a Golden Ram fan. Edmonds with some room to run, and he's going to run, and step out of bounds. Gain of a possible 7 or 8 yards, bring up a 3rd and short.
Once again, Edmonds makes the play where he needs to. He was not open. There was no receiver open, so he says, all right, I'll do it myself. Gets positive yards, makes it a 3rd and long for the Rams.
Now, instead of going with the no huddle, they're going to go with the huddle, make sure everyone gets the play correctly, trying to add on to their 3-point lead. They came out of the half like gangbusters, scoring quickly. Now they're trying to add on to it. Edmonds getting some pressure, trying to find a receiver, and another overthrow. Incomplete pass intended for Takavian Harris. And some people are looking for roughing the passer, but none of that is happening, and now the fans are not necessarily happy about that. They want to see a little bit more for homecoming in the way of some scores.
And Harris, 21 receptions this season. He's got 3 touchdown passes that could have been his 4th for the season. Misses out to give the Rams a chance to expand.
Punting situation. And he's going to try to keep it. Oh, great catch by Nick Scott. And he caught the ball, but he couldn't stop his momentum from going into the end zone for a touchback. When we come back, we'll see if Clark Atlanta can get it going offensively, as now they trail by 3. Albany State trying to win homecoming and stay in the SIAC Eastern Division.
Yesterday, too many.
Albany State faithful here, been here all morning. They've had a parade game, and they'll have some other festivities after the game. Homecoming 2016 here on the campus of Albany State University. James Barrett along with Eric Tabor. Jonathan McCrary back at quarterback, the starting quarterback, and he starts off with a positive play, a pass for a first down. Nick Scott on the tackle.
We talk about Jonathan McCrary. Last week against Benedict, he was 21 for 31 for 302 yards, and he threw for 2 touchdowns in that Herculean effort where they put away a very good Benedict College and a very solid defensive-minded team.
McCrary takes the low snap and incomplete. Looks like there was a miscommunication on the route, and that caused the incompletion to Trenton Earl.
When you watch Trenton Earl, he's had 7 receptions for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he leads the team in receptions.
So far today, only 2 receptions, 24 yards, as long as 17 yards. That was in the first half, and that pass was thrown by Deshaun Blow. And now they give to McCray. Jaha gets some positive yards, but it will bring up a 3rd down situation. And yes, on the far side of the field, right there in the corner of your screen, you saw a defender with a love tap. That's the best way we could describe it, and a flag comes down. Remember, this is homecoming and also possibly the de facto Eastern Division championship game. If Clark Atlanta wins, they move on. If Albany State wins, they control their own destiny. So we can say that emotions are at its highest right now.
I agree. The thing people are missing here, when we talk about penalties, one of the most penalized teams, Debo.
And that was Marquise Hodo, and that's a senior, and a senior should know better. You know, when you're a senior, a possible all-conference performer, you know that the receiver's going to try to bait you in, and that's what the position coach is trying to explain to him.
And we talk about this. Clark Atlanta is the most penalized team in the conference. And the way things have been going today, you really couldn't tell that with the penalties Albany State has incurred.
Well, they have more penalties than Albany State, but so far, it really hasn't cost them. Pitch and catch goes almost nowhere. They gain possibly 1 yard on the reception. Shelby in on the tackle for Albany State.
He's one of the leading tacklers for the Golden Rams, coming into this game with 38 tackles, and he's going to continue to add to that statistic. Just let him keep playing.
Jackson gets a reception and has some room to run. He eludes one tackle and another. 2 flags have been thrown down. Could add some more yardage on there. Deshaun Jackson with the reception. DeAndre Jackson on the reception.
And watch as McQuarrie finds his man. He juggles the football, but we're going to have a hold. It was almost a takedown right there. An easy call for the officials.
Dre Martin called for the hold. And once again, if I'm DeAndre Jackson, I'm like, what can I do to get my big plays to stick? He had a 99-yard kickoff return called back for a push in the back. Now he has another positive play called back because of a hold. He's doing everything, but his friends aren't helping him. McCrary looking, finds a receiver. Let's see what they're going to call. Interception! Interception by the Dirty Blue defense, and right there, Nick Scott. Check that. Savondrick Shingleton there on the reception, playing the outside linebacker position.
And Shingleton picks up his first interception of the 2016 season to go along with one fumble recovery.
Positive play for maybe 1 yard by McKinley Habersham. And now the offense holding on to that 3-point lead. They can methodically go down, eat up a little clock, but they got to finish with some points in order to make it stick.
Indeed, they have to score. Albany State, we talk about how they have not played 4 quarters. And right now is where Coach Land would want to see his squad finish the drill and finish out these last 2 quarters.
Edmonds with time, and once again, time again, another drop pass, this time by Takevian Harris. And when you look at the stats from the first half, as far as passing, 8 of 21 for Albany State, and a lot of those incompletions have come from drop passes.
That's been a point of emphasis for that offensive crew to work on in practice. I had a chance to talk with Anthony Kelly, the receivers coach, and he said that they had spent some extra time this week on the jugs machine catching balls.
Well, those jugs didn't turn into hugs on the football. Right now, Edmonds trying to get a big play, looking for a receiver, and once again an overthrow. Working on the jugs is good, but it's got to turn into guys catching it when it counts. Mm-hmm. Jugs is fast and hard, but they don't have another person beside you when you catch it.
That's true. I always look forward to when players are with the jug machine, but the thing I'm questioning right now is a lot of the overthrown balls. Is it, could it be the wind being a factor in this contest?
Well, could be, or the receivers may be a little out of sync by the defenders of Clark Atlanta. Fair catch called. Ball goes over the head of Jackson and takes a Albany State bounce inside the 10, down at the 9-yard line, which means they have to go the full length of the field with 4 minutes, 52 seconds left in the third quarter if they want to regain or tie this game up. And so far for the Dirty Blue defense, they have been able to stonewall Clark Atlanta so far this quarter. They've used both quarterbacks, Deshaun Blow and also Jonathan McCrary, and we're eager to see which quarterback goes into the game, and it looks like it will be number 12, McCrary, who played the majority of the first half, but it was Blow who led the team to their score. And one short carry, possibly a gain by Daniels. And for McCrary, right now, this is a situation where he can improve his work by leading his team to a score, but he's got to get everybody back on the same page like they were in the latter part of the first half.
And that's got to start up front with that offensive line. They've got to maintain their blocks.
McCrary looking to throw, and this time he goes down. A sack for the Dirty Blue defense. a number of players there in order to make the big play, leading the way. Big number 90, Nigel Phillips, making the play. He's 6'5", 350. Ooh, that's pretty big for a junior.
He is a big guy. And I always say this, with a guy that big, you could almost fry fish in his belly button.
Fry fish in his belly button. That's new and nasty. I just would not eat that fish. But that's okay. That's another story. If that's your thing, okay. But frying fish in your belly button, that means it's pretty deep.
Yes.
Okay. That's a sight that just turned my stomach. But, you know, it's homecoming. People do strange things. Out of his own end zone after the sack by Nigel and thrown incomplete. It seems as though that offensive line for Clark Atlanta mastered the dirty blue defense in the latter half of the first half, but right here in the third quarter, with guys like Nigel Phillips coming in a reserve role at 6'5", 350, you've got other guys like Grover Stewart at 6'5", 295. That size is starting to take advantage.
And that's what Albany State likes to do offensively and defensively. They want to wear you down and force you into submission. A few weeks ago when they played the number 3 team in the nation, West Georgia, they played them until it came down to the last play of the game.
Out of the back of his own end zone, flag is thrown, and it looks like he may have stepped out or possibly an offsides call, and maybe offsides on Albany State. And looks like one of the upbacks or one of the players on the end of the line moved slightly, and now it moves him back just an inch or two. Gets the ball off,
wow.
Ty Woods, and it does not take a Clark Atlanta bounce, and that punt turns out to be about a 35, 36-yard punt, which gives Albany State golden field position.
It is time for possibly a nugget or two of wisdom to come in from that offensive coordinator, Steve Smith, as the Golden Rams now have an opportunity to assert themselves and extend that 3-point lead.
Edmonds trying to find a screen, does the small trying to make a cut, and during the season they did say he had some leg injuries, and you could see he was very tentative on the way that he made that cut. Wasn't as crisp as we're used to seeing from previous seasons of Jarvis Small.
Yeah, we've seen that, and the coaches have talked about he still is not comfortable planning on that ankle, but he is a gamesman. He's trying to show his senior leadership and continuing to play hard-nosed football even though he's not 100%.
Second down, call it 6 for the first. They need to get inside the 24-yard line. Small using that senior mindset to find the holes when there is no hole, gets closer to the first down at about the 25-yard line. And looks like there's a player down for Clark Atlanta. Mikael Lucier, and looks like it's cramps. They have a lot of emotion going on. What a lot of people don't realize with cramps, stress involves you to sweat a little bit more than usual, especially when you're in an intense situation, and sometimes it's cramps. Now, this late in the season, somewhat unusual, but that defense for Clark Atlanta has been out on the field for a long time. Time of possession in the first half was in favor of Clark Atlanta, 18 minutes, 22 seconds as opposed to 11 minutes, 38 seconds. But right now for the third quarter, it's been heavily in favor of Albany State.
You always look forward to seeing teams run the football, especially this late in the season. When you can pound the football and move the ball at will like the Golden Rams are doing right now, that just demoralizes your opponents.
Third and short. Keeper Edmonds has room to run, gets the first down and a little bit more inside the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Golden Rams move the chains.
That play was set up by the slot receiver coming down and taking out the defensive end. We've been talking all game long about the backside defensive ends being able to close. This time, a smart, heady play by the slot receiver for the Golden Rams.
Small this time goes nowhere fast. A host of white shirts right there to tackle him for no gain. Datavian Galmer leading the way for Clark Atlanta.
Small, still not quite 100%, but you can see he's walking off the field a little gingerly. But he is going to go, even if he's been at 25 or 30% this season, and he is still stepped foot on the pitch to play.
Well, his second is playing like a first in McKinley Habersham. He's in at the running back position. Edmonds trying to find Habersham and underthrows him. McKinley Habersham has done amazing work inspiring this team and also has the touchdown, the only touchdown for Albany State, but on that play incomplete, a little bit behind it.
And we talk about Habersham, 203 yards rushing the football, but we never really talked about his pass catching abilities. That ball was a little behind him, and had it been out in front of him, great combination routes by the receivers. He might have taken that one to the house.
3rd down and 10. They need to get inside the 10-yard line for a first. Edmonds getting some pressure, and this time wrong move, big move for Clark Atlanta. Another sack, huge defensive play by the Panthers. William Kinney on the tackle.
And the goal rush offense there could not elude the Clark Atlanta pass rush. We talked about it before the game. They are going to bring the house at times. Clark Atlanta came on a blitz, got there, and almost immediately Edmonds was under duress.
Wiley to punt for Albany State, and he's trying to pooch it, and he may have only had from the original line of scrimmage, he may have just kicked it maybe 10 or 15 yards. They'll say it's a 40-yard punt, but from that original line of scrimmage, he may have only went 2 or 3 yards from where it originally was.
A tough break for the Golden Rams special teams.
And you see the fans right now, rather than reveling in the lead, I think they're a little concerned right now.
I wouldn't blame them. This Clark Atlanta team is not your Clark Atlanta team that Mama used to know. They have come to play.
Mama used to see them give up at this point, but right now, Kevin Ramsey has no quit in this team, and they're trying to set a new path and set a new way of doing things on the campus right there in the AU Center. Jonathan McCrary still in at quarterback. Safety valve, Jaha McCray, and this time his footing goes under, and that ends the 3rd quarter. 10-7 is your score. Albany State holding on to a 3-point lead, but we've got one more quarter to go here. Homecoming 2016.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
When we come back, we'll have the final quarter in regulation. Homecoming 2016 right here on Aspire. Homecoming 2016 on the campus of Albany State University as the Golden Rams hold on to a 10-7 lead over Clark Atlanta. And we are entering the 4th quarter, but now we're joined by the captain of the ship, trying to keep everything afloat, Miss Cherie Gordon, the athletic director. And you most likely feel like Noah because you've only been here 40 days and 40 nights.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How has everything been going so far?
Everything's been great. It's been very busy 46 days, but a very good 46 days. Very productive.
What attracted you to this position here at Albany State?
Well, I thought it was a unique opportunity with the consolidation to take a fresh look at the athletic program and inherit a great program with such great tradition and take it to a new level. But also President Dunning. I was really intrigued by his leadership and his vision for taking this institution to a new level.
What is the new you as regards to athletics?
The new you, we're focused on creating a model student-athlete experience, operating with integrity at all times, invest in the professional growth of our student-athletes and our staff, excelling academically and telling that story and competing and winning ball games. We want to continue to win conference championships, compete at the region, and eventually strive for national championships. So that's our goal for the new year.
What was the biggest thing that you wanted to get accomplished the first 40 days you were in office?
Listen, evaluate, and observe. And I can say I've done that. And so my next 30 days is to come up with some strategic priorities and a SWOT analysis on things that are immediate, and then work on a strategic plan for the long term of the department.
Homecoming is always for athletic directors, love, joy, headache, and hell all at the same time. What on that pendulum, where are you right now?
I'm in joy because it's almost the fourth quarter. I've been here since 5:30 this morning, but I tell you, it's been a great day to meet our alumni, my first opportunity to experience my first homecoming as a Golden Ram.
Mm-hmm. When you look at your athletic program, your women's, I think, track team?
Cross-country championship on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what does that mean to have not only for on the male side, you have your football team doing a lot of positive things, but for the women's sports, you also are bringing home championships?
I think it's great. I think it speaks to the testament of our coaches, our head coaches, and our other staff. Yesterday was our 111th championship in this conference, and I don't know the facts, but I don't know if it's too many Division I or III programs that have 111 conference championships. So we have a strong foundation, and my job is just to build and grow that foundation and raise money. So these coaches can do more for our program.
Is there a lot of opportunity here that you think those stones haven't been turned over as far as fundraising?
Absolutely. I think it's, we'll work on building a corporate program and a philanthropic program and streamline support here for the institution. In my short time here, there's been people from both communities, from East and West Campus, that's on board to help support. And we're looking forward to that. We have some things in the works now of working on a campaign to raise money, not only for athletics, but the institution. So we're excited, and we think we have a lot of support for that.
Certain administrators have, nice sack there, loose ball, and recovered by the Golden Rams, and they're going to say, no, it's an incomplete pass, and the ball is dead, but he's still going to run in just to make sure. Okay, he gets across, but they say it's incomplete. And yes, the homecoming faithful don't like that at all.
Not at all.
So let's talk about administrative styles. We see the replay right here, and is it a forward pass? Oh, no, I don't know about that. It looks like the ball was knocked out of his hands, but they're going to call it, and we can't have replay here for the regular season. So looks like that one will go around. We do have a player down, but he is leaning up, which is a positive, and he's going to get up and move on. So let's talk about your administrative style. They have some people, they like to go with a heavy hand. They like some people who are, they're soft and dainty with it. What is your administrative style?
I think first you have to have a strategic approach to anything you do. I think anyone that's worked for me will tell you that I'm a hard worker and like to grind. But at the end of the day, I'm a servant leader. My job is to serve our coaches and student athletes and to make sure that our staff and myself represents this institution well, and that President Dunning does a great job.
So as far as the city, have you had a chance to get around and see some of the different sites here in Albany?
I have not. I told people I feel like I'm living in college right now. I'm living out of luggage. So I spend a lot of time here on campus. Eric can attest to that. I have not seen much, but the little I have seen has been great, and people have been very embracing during my time here.
Good, good, good. Punting situation for Clark Atlanta, and high and short. Telling everybody to get away from it, but it does take a Clark Atlanta bounce, and they fall all over it, and it may be down at about the 2-yard line. Well, Ms. Gordon, we definitely wish you well in your endeavors here. I know you've had many stops before, but I think this is a stop where it can grow and turn into something great.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Good, good, good. Thank you so very much. When we come back, we'll continue the fourth quarter. Homecoming 2016 right here on the campus of Albany State University. 10-7 is your score right here on Aspire.
Your insurance company won't replace the full value of your totaled new car. The guy says, you picked the wrong insurance plan. No, I picked the wrong insurance company.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you won't have to worry about replacing your car because you'll get the full value back, including depreciation. And if you have more than one Liberty Mutual policy, you qualify for a multi-policy discount, saving you money on your car and home coverage. Call 1-844-589-6694 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
rebellion.
Come on, R2. Welcome to the rebellion. This is for you.
Duracell and Children's Miracle Network hospitals are powering imaginations everywhere.
At GCU, earning your degree online doesn't have to be without the college experience. To find your purpose, it takes support from those around you. GCU's leadership offers over 3 decades of experience in delivering real-world degree programs online. GCU's online class size averages fewer than 17 students with full-time faculty. Find your purpose online at Grand Canyon University. Call us today at 855-GCU-1949.
"10-7 is your score. 12:28 left to play in the final quarter of regulation here at Albany State Municipal Coliseum. Wonderful facility here, and they tried to go for the block and they did not get it. No flag was thrown, but the ball does go out of bounds inside the 10-yard line, down at about the 6-yard line, and that's where Albany State will take over. Now time could be an issue if Clark Atlanta can't get a big play here and make us 3 and out.
And that was a smart move by the Albany State Special Teams Coordinator Christopher Henderson. They decided to go after the block. Had they got it, this might be the quintessential nail in the coffin, if I could use that term.
Give inside, may gain 1, possibly 2 yards. Jarvis Small playing in his final homecoming of the season, final homecoming of his career. This is a career where he has won a conference championship. He has made the championship game 3 out of his 4 years here at Albany State. And he would like to finish his season and his career with another shot at the title. Bootleg for Edmonds. Finds his tight end, able to get some positive yards. First down for the Golden Rams. Chris Hunt on the reception.
We talk about it. Edmonds rolls out. He could have run this for the first down or threw it, but at the back, the last second, he saw Hunt coming free in the middle of the field. Makes the play. First down, Albany State.
Tight end has been key in moving these drives along. Run goes maybe for 1 yard. Small once again. Doesn't get a lot of credit on what he's done this season due to the ankle injury, but behind the scenes, he has still been that quintessential senior leader for the Golden Rams.
You always look to your seniors to lead a football team. Jarvis Small is trying to lead by example. He's 75%, but guess what? He's still out there. He's still trying to make a play.
Second and long. Edmonds finds a receiver, has one catch made. Quadri Simmons, first down. Golden Rams move the chains.
We talk about this young man. He is not only a great athlete, but he is an outstanding scholar. I believe he is on the dean's list, or they call it the swag list.
Swag list?
Yes.
Oh, they got to stay modern. Okay, I get it. Habersham on the carry, swag list. So the same thing as dean list, but they gave it more tenor.
Yes.
Okay. Swag. You have swag?
I would hope I do. I know you do, James.
I do not have swag. No. I am not swagalicious or swaggable.
Okay.
I don't think so. I may be cool, or it's cool not cool anymore. It's just swag.
I don't know. We'll have to ask the kids about that one. You know, we're
so that means he's smart.
Yes.
Okay. All right, swag. I'm moving on to some other things. Edmonds getting some pressure, blitz, and he quickly throws the ball, but there was a receiver there.
Number 4 was in the area.
And I call that Peyton Manning move.
Yes.
Quickly get rid of the ball so you don't take a loss.
And that's a smart, heady play, and that shows you how mature Caleb Edmonds has become. Rather than taking a loss or trying to do too much, he says, all right, I see I have a receiver right there, so I'm going to throw it at Habersham's feet. Incomplete. I'll live to fight another down.
And behind Habersham, and right now the blitzing is coming from Clark Atlanta. Kevin Ramsey is known for his very selective time to blitz. He'll blitz from everywhere, and this time he's bringing in those defensive backs in the blitz, and it's causing problems for the Golden Rams.
Marquise Parker this time comes on the blitz, tries to make a play. He has 2 sacks on the season, almost gets a third.
Punting situation for Terry Wiley. And goes out of bounds right at about the 20 or 21 yard line, depending on where the spot is. And they will give him a positive spot inside the 20 at the 18. 40-yard punt by Wiley. Time is not on the side of Clark Atlanta. They've got 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Some people say plenty of time, but this offense has not been able to put together a long, consistent drive so far this half, and coming in is the man who has provided them with their only consistent scoring drive in Deshaun Blow. Blow, pitch and catch, and incomplete. Heavy hit with the Superman pose on the end. Good job by Ryan Selby.
And that's what Coach Huff teaches his defensive backs. When they play zone, you read the quarterback's eyes and you deliver the blow. An old coach once told me, if you hit a guy hard enough, he'll forget about the football.
Well, that's true. Give to McCray. Jaha finds an aha moment with the first down.
That play was actually set up by the offensive line getting to the second level. They actually got on the linebackers and created a wall. McCray saw the seam, steps up, and explodes for the first down.
For Jaha.
Yes.
1st and 10, they work their way out of that hole, out to about the 29. Blow, looking for more. Quick pass, and he throws it behind the receiver. Put a little bit too much mustard on it, does Blow.
So Martin was a little behind him, but the coaches always tell you if you can put your fingertips on it as a receiver, you should be able to pull that in.
Blow finds McCray on the outside. He has a nice spin move, able to gain possibly 3 yards to bring up a 3rd down situation. Third and long, they'll call it 3rd and 7. They need to really get out to the 40-yard line for first. The Dirty Blue defense so far in the second half has been stonewalling Clark Atlanta.
Looks like Blow's trying to change the play.
Blow, once again, like Merlin the Magician, but this time the magic does not work because the Dirty Blue is right there with another sack.
This time, the Albany State Dirty Blue defense, or the Golden Rams, brought the house. They came and had instant pressure and disrupted any timing these receivers had on their routes. And looks like a little bit of collateral damage as 2 Golden Rams are down on the field.
And it looks like one of the hurt players went over to the other one. It's like, are you okay? I'm sorry about that.
Well, it was a little bit of friendly fire, I guess you could call that one.
Arms and legs flying everywhere when you're trying to corral Mr. Blow, who was trying to use that magic to get out of the dirty blue arms.
And I think Deshaun Blow needs to change his name to Harry Houdini because he almost escaped on that play.
And nice to see that young man coming off the field, which will bring up a punting situation for Clark Atlanta.
Don't be outside. Be outside. Don't be outside.
And a nice booming punt taken at the 25-yard line and knocked out of bounds at about the 35-yard line, about 10-yard return for Albany State. But there is some laundry on the field. And let's remember, Clark Atlanta is the most penalized team in the conference, so having these penalties may be advantage for Albany State if it's going against Clark Atlanta, but it's nothing that Clark Atlanta has not dealt with all season.
During the kick, holding, kicking team number 42, 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
And that's Kevin Ramsey right there, and he's like, come on, let's get this right.
And it definitely was a hold. We talked earlier about when an offensive lineman lays on top of a defensive guy, that is considered a hold. So that's what was called. The officials made the proper call. So the Golden Rams will take possession and give them an additional 10 yards.
So now they'll have the ball at the 45-yard line. Valiant effort so far by Clark Atlanta's defense, only holding Albany State to 10 points. This time they bring the house, and great play call on the screen, trying to get loose, and does enough for the first down. Good positive play there by Michael Green.
We talk about Michael Green's athleticism. He's a two-sport star. As he makes the reception on the wide receiver screen, makes a cut, makes one man miss, two men miss, almost gets through that window to take it to the house. But just as good, he picks up a first down.
And we do have a player down for Clark Atlanta. Looks like it's just fatigue. He's breathing heavy.
And that's one thing that this Albany State team, they are huge up front. Huge offensive linemen, huge defensive linemen, and they just continue to pound on you and wear on you.
That's Frederick Alexander, the senior, 6 foot 282. And this game is most likely taking a lot out of him. They've been chasing quarterbacks all day long. First and 10. Give to Habersham. He breaks one tackle and gets 3 yards on that carry.
The thing that impresses me once again about this offensive line, you look at where they start the play and where the lineman, and he has his defensive lineman. This offensive line literally walled off and moved that entire front of Clark Atlanta 3 yards, giving Habersham the opportunity to pick up some short yardage and keep that clock rolling. We're just under 7 minutes to go.
Edmonds getting some pressure. Does a good job finding Smith. And he is able to get close to another first down, maybe 2 yards short.
Smith makes the catch underneath on a crossing route, tries to extend it to get the first down, but saw the defender at his back, pulls it back in, but gets positive yards. But it's third and manageable here.
Kicking it to the wheel.
Habersham still in as the only back in the backfield with Edmonds. Nice quick strike. Breaks one tackle. Another, and gets inside the 10-yard line down to about the 3. Good reception by Takevian Harris. And when the receivers catch the ball, they are very dangerous.
That's what we talk about, YAC, yards after the catch. They catch Clark Atlanta in an all-out blitz, no linebackers underneath, so the slant route is wide open. The receiver makes the catch, gets downfield, 1st and goal for the Rams.
Trying to make an audible is Caleb Edmonds. Uh-oh, and seems as though we've got some discrepancy between quarterback and position coach trying to figure out what was the call.
Albany State, that is their first
and
time out of half.
The quarterback's coach, Yul Joyner, seems to be a little upset. He's usually a happy-going type of guy, but he and Steve Smith are upset right now about something.
I think a lot of people don't understand when you are in the heat of battle, a lot of things are said because everybody wants to try to get the play right and everybody thinks they know what the right play is to call. But when you're the quarterback and then you're listening to your coaches and they let you audible, sometimes that authority can sometimes get in the way of what you're seeing because they don't see it, or vice versa. First and goal. Small trying to score one more for his final homecoming here at Albany State.
And they showed a formation you haven't seen in some time. They lined up in the power I, getting behind that big offensive line. Let them plow the road, and you just get behind them, find a crease, slip in there, and score 6.
Got about 385 pounds in front of him is Jarvis Small, but right now, look at Caleb Edmonds on the bootleg, and he walks in for another Golden Ram touchdown.
Outstanding play selection by Steve Smith and the Golden Rams offense. They ran a naked bootleg. Everybody in the stadium thought Jarvis Small was going to get the handoff. Edmonds rolls out, sees his receivers covered. Nobody's in the corner of the end zone. Nobody's going to deny him. Touchdown, Golden Rams. Let's add the extra point.
Maldonado with the point after attempt. Kick is good. With 4:34 left to play in the game, now they have expanded the lead to 10. 17-7 is your score. Golden Rams trying to walk off with a homecoming 2016 victory and have the fans happy, but Clark Atlanta still has one more opportunity to make an impact right here on Aspire.
This Friday.
Next Saturday, catch Aspire's HBCU Playback Game of the Week. We're going back to 2004 with an exciting matchup between Shaw University and Tuskegee. Host Doug Stewart and Rashawn Ali gives us fun facts and trivia about this throwback classic next Saturday at 2 p.m. on Aspire. 17-7 is your score. Albany State with a 2-yard touchdown run by Caleb Edmonds. Drive was 6 plays, 54 yards, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Maldonado with the kick. Jackson on the return at the 15-yard line. Trying to find some room, slips and falls at the 26, and that's where Clark Atlanta will take over.
And an interesting fact about Maldonado, this season he has not missed a PAT attempt. So he is perfect.
And right now, Clark Atlanta trying to find some perfection with 4 minutes and 29 seconds left to play in regulation. They need to score 10 points. And right now, coming onto the field, Deshaun Blow, who orchestrated their only touchdown of the game in the first half. Blow getting some pressure, trying to elude one defender, but this time he has wrapped up another sack by that dirty blue defensive line, and they want some more, they want some more, they want some more. Leading the way, number 90, Nigel Phillips, along with others.
Nigel Phillips is a name we haven't called much today, but he is an integral part of that defensive line. He rotates in and out, and they bring him in as a change of pace type of guy.
Also, you see number 11, Zane Fields, playing that outside linebacker in on that sack. Now, Blow, second down and forever. This time he throws it a little bit too far out of the reach of the intended wide receiver, Trenton Earl.
And Earl, we were expecting to see a lot more from him today. He's been fairly solid. He's had a couple of catches, but he hasn't made the impact that I thought he would have made today.
Third down, call it 17, Blow. Nice hit, great reception, good second effort by Jonathan Sanders for Clark Atlanta. He got hit in the gut, but able to hold on to the football, great concentration.
And Nick Scott, playing zone defense, reads his key, steps up, makes the hit, bring up a second down. Nick Scott came dangerously close to targeting on that play.
But he did hit him in the gut. That was a good football play.
Timeout, Albany State. That is their second timeout of the half.
Albany had too many men on the field, one player trying to hurry off, and they did not want to get called with a penalty. And right now they take the timeout, but this is advantage Clark Atlanta because they can get some more players going.
They can get the personnel groupings in there, 3:24 remaining.
Join Aspire on social media. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at TV Aspire. .324 left to play.
And now it's time for, as a defender, this is the gut check time. Fourth down, late in the game. You get a stop, this could wrap up the contest.
Blow, nice pitch and catch, enough for the first down. Good sure tackle there made by Albany State, and they move the chains, and the clock is stopped with 3 minutes, 17 seconds left to play in regulation.
And what the Albany State defense did was run what you call a pass blitz. They played zone, but they brought the house.
Clock is at 3:06 and counting. Blow, he has plenty of time. He's using his feet, but this time goes and throws an incomplete pass to McCray. Obviously, good coverage by Albany State.
And McCray would have been the go-to guy because you got the matchup you wanted. You had a linebacker, Marquez Thomas, one-on-one with McCray, and you put those two in a foot race, we all know who will probably win that one, McCray by a mile.
All right, 3 minutes left on the clock. 17-7 is your score, and Clark Atlanta needs to do something, but right now there was a flag thrown, and it looks like there was a little confusion there on the sideline for Clark Atlanta. Let's see what the official call will be.
Substitution on the offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Dre Martin got on the field at a wrong time, and you see Kevin Ramsey, he is not a happy camper right now because I think the coach told him to go in at the wrong time.
And that's a tough break for the Panthers. That makes it second down and 15.
3 minutes left to play in regulation. Clark Atlanta needs to score 10, but they need 6 quickly. Nice pitch and catch, able to get enough for the first down. Good play there by Yoshida Muwata. Once again, Johnny on the spot when they need him the most. He's able to show up and help his team continue this drive. Time now 2:40 and counting, at 2:38 and counting. Clock is running against Clark Atlanta. Blow with time. finds a receiver in the hole, gets into Albany State territory, enough for the first down.
And now is not the time for Albany State to go into a prevent defense, but that's what it looks like. They're backing into sort of a prevent defense, and they're allowing Clark Atlanta to catch the ball and leaving the middle of the field open.
Reception by Jaha McCray, good catch, pitch and catch, but time is running out on them. We're approaching the 2-minute mark left here in regulation, and it's 2 minutes, check that, 1:56 and counting. 5 wide receivers. Blow trying to orchestrate a late comeback, and he's going to take it and run, and gets brought down on the backside by Shingleton. But now time is running against them. They stop the clock to move the chains with 1 minute and 40 seconds left to play.
And that was a design run. When he saw that we had Shingleton coming from the backside on a blitz, he knew automatically he was going to have to run with it.
Blow trying to find someone, can't find anybody open, and this time he will quickly throw the ball out of bounds. Clock is stopped with 1 minute and 21 seconds left to play.
And right here, you can't afford to make a mistake. So Blow smartly throws it away. You live to fight another down. I hate to use that cliche over and over again, but that's just heady football.
Had a very entertaining ball game in which Clark Atlanta went to halftime with a 7-3 lead, but it has been huge plays and nice long drives by Albany State to come back to this game to have a 17-7 lead. For our fans who are just joining us, what's at stake for Clark Atlanta?
Albany State, that is their last timeout of the half.
Albany State calls their final timeout, trying to get their alignment straight. But what is at stake right now for Clark Atlanta is the Eastern Division title. They win, they're in. But for Albany State, they have a few more conference games to go. They need to win today to control their own destiny. And right now, the 18 seniors for the Golden Rams understand what's at stake, not only to win their final homecoming, but also get back to that championship game. Last season, they lost a close one to Miles College, and they want to try to walk away with another opportunity to come back with an SIAC championship.
Albany State has 2 games remaining after today. If they win today, they've got an appointment in Augusta, Georgia against Benedict College with Mike White, against Mike White, the former head coach of Albany State.
1 minute, 21 seconds left to play in regulation. 5 wide receivers set for Blow at quarterback. Getting some pressure from the backside, and who is that? None other than number 99, Grover Stewart, and that may be the exclamation mark for this Dirty Blue defense. He gets a sack, another sack for that Dirty Blue defense with 1 minute and counting left on the clock. The clock is running against Clark Atlanta. Blow with some time, tries to find a receiver, incomplete. Good play there by Nick Scott along with the other defensive backs to knock the ball free. 50 seconds left on the clock, 50.7 to be exact. They will need a touchdown, point after attempt, onside kick, and possibly a long field goal to take it into overtime, or you could try for the incredible 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds. It's happened before.
Right now, with under a minute to go, they have no choice but to take an end zone shot right now. They've still got 2 timeouts remaining, but under 1 minute to go, and they're going to use one here.
Clark Atlanta, that is their second timeout of the half.
And Deshaun Blow is a type of quarterback that can score quickly. We saw that for their only score in the first half. He was able to drive his team down. 8 plays, 77 yards, 2 minutes and 28 seconds with a 10-yard touchdown run in the first half. Now he has 50.7 seconds to really, in essence, score 2 touchdowns.
And bottom line right now, you've got to take some end zone shots. You have no choice. You know, the underneath stuff is great, but now the time is not your friend. You're going to have to score quickly.
And right now, they are going to attempt a field goal. Kick is up and no good.
And I think that should just about wrap it up here with one timeout remaining, 45.9 seconds, and a fresh set of downs.
Carlos Saldana's 38-yard field goal attempt, wide left. And with 45.9 seconds left, it looks like it will be victory formation for Albany State. And for Dan Land's team, they control their own destiny. For Clark Atlanta, they'll have to sit and wait. They still have an opportunity to win the Eastern Division for the SIAC, but they'll now need a little help.
And Caleb Edmonds just takes a knee there to pretty much go. And here's the question now, will Clark Atlanta use that last time out? Because it's pretty much academic here as some of the fans are headed toward the exit.
Less than 30 seconds left to play in regulation. 17-7 is your score. And we have some players that are a little bit upset for Clark Atlanta because they knew what was at stake. Clock now at 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and homecoming 2016 is in the books, and Albany State victorious at home 17-7 over Clark Atlanta, and the SIAC Eastern Division is still up for grabs. Kevin Ramsey and the Clark Atlanta Panthers had an opportunity, but they were unable to unearth the ground attack of the Golden Rams as they walk away with a home victory for homecoming 2016. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up here from Albany, Georgia, as the Golden Rams stay golden right here on Inspire.
Every body is different, but everybody gets dry skin. Feel moisturized without feeling your moisturizer. With Lubriderm, absorbs in seconds, moisturizes for hours. Lubriderm, every body care.
Stubborn frizz needs smoothing care. Garnier Whole Blend Smoothing Oil. Infused with coconut oil and cocoa butter extracts. Protects each strand for naturally beautiful, shiny hair. Garnier Whole Blend Smoothing Hair Care with coconut oil and cocoa butter.
Vonage is here to help you connect. Always.
Hey, Mom.
Connect in more ways. Connect in new ways with a home phone that links to your smartphone.
Hey, Danny. Dad?
Vonage has created a new kind of home phone service so you can connect more and pay less. Talk all you want across the US, Canada, and Mexico on both your home and mobile phones for just $9.99 a month. That's 60% off for a full year. Plus, call home over Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world for free. Block unwanted callers forever with just a swipe. And when you can't pick up,
And the Albany State faithful now can leave and continue the homecoming festivities. This was a game they had to hold their breath for a while as their Golden Ram football team trailed 7-3 at half, but able to make a huge second half comeback. The Dirty Blue defense pitches a shutout as the offense able to get some points on the board and walk away with a 17-7 victory. Now, Eric, for the Rams going forward, is the championship theirs to lose?
It is theirs to lose. They have 2 games left in the division. Next week, they travel to Augusta, Georgia to take on the Benedict College Tigers, whose head coach is the former head coach of Albany State, Mike White. They win there, then it sets up another showdown game 2 weeks from then in Columbus, Georgia, as the Rams will take on their cross-state rivals, the Fort Valley State Wildcats. And they win both of those, they're in the conference championship, period.
Now, if you're Clark Atlanta faithful, do you have anything to hold their head down about today?
No. This is a team that is still on the cusp. They've still got some growing to do. They're a young team. They have on that roster 30 freshmen. So there's a lot to build on. So it's nothing to hold their head about. They will be back, and they will be contenders again next year. And they will not surprise people, because I've seen this team, and when they're on, they're on.
It looks like from now on for Clark Atlanta, they do have 2 quarterbacks that they can use, and for Albany State, they still have some work to do to get that offense clicking earlier in the game, particularly in the first half. But defensively, the dirty blue defense, and as they say on the street, those big uglies up front, especially with Grover, number 99, right there drinking, doing the alma mater one last time for homecoming. As long as they have those guys in the front, they will have an opportunity to win the Eastern Division and make it to Montgomery for the SIAC championship game that you can see right here on Aspire. Homecoming 2016 was just as advertised. The Golden Rams have found a way to keep the home crowd happy as they walked away with a 17-7 victory. Thank you for watching the SIAC football right here on Aspire. Have a good evening.